It's Friday, January 24th, and this is now on HNN.
The investigation is still very preliminary.
Investigators find multiple firearms at the Diamond Head property where Sunday's deadly rampage unfolded.
I thought someone had hit my house.
Developing right now, a large explosion at a factory rocked the Houston area this morning.
We have no evidence at this point that terrorism is involved.
Police say at least 2 people have died, and they have opened a criminal investigation into what happened.
A global effort is now underway to contain the deadly coronavirus. I'm Michael George with the new case being investigated here in the U.S.
These stories, plus we're in LA for a preview of the Grammys, coming up on This Is Now. Hey everyone, thanks for watching This Is Now. I'm Jonathan alongside Lacey here. We want to get to the very latest developments regarding that virus that everyone's talking about.
The CDC has confirmed the second case of coronavirus in the U.S. It's a woman in her 60s who traveled to Wuhan, China. The city is ground zero for the virus, which has now killed 26 people and infected more than 800 people in 9 countries. Michael George is at JFK Airport in New York, where passengers coming from China are being screened.
Hospitals are severely overcrowded with panicked patients in the city of Wuhan, ground zero for the deadly coronavirus. This doctor says the task to treat everyone has been overwhelming, and doctors are getting new training on the front lines. With so many confirmed cases, the city is building a 1,000-bed hospital that it hopes to have ready in less than 2 weeks. The 36 million people that live in Wuhan and 12 cities nearby are under lockdown. Normally bustling streets are deserted. Some markets are running low on supplies, and all public transportation has been halted. People leaving the area in cars are being stopped and their temperatures checked. Similar checkpoints have been set up here at JFK Airport and 4 other U.S. airports. So far, 2,000 passengers on 100 flights have been screened.
We are looking for ill travelers, but equally important, it's an opportunity for us to educate travelers about this virus so that they can be on the lookout for symptoms.
The CDC says 63 people in 22 U.S. states are now under investigation for the coronavirus. Federal health officials briefed members of the U.S. Senate about the risks to Americans.
If you're sick, stay home. If your kids are sick, don't send them to school, because we certainly don't want transmission from person to person.
The CDC says it's likely there will be more cases reported in the coming days and weeks, but that the immediate threat to the general public in the U.S. is low. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
All right, we want to get to the very latest regarding the investigation into the tragedy at Diamond Head now.
HPD investigators say they found numerous firearms in the rubble of the Hibiscus Drive home where Sunday's fire began. But they have not yet identified which gun was used to kill 2 police officers, and there's still no positive ID on the 2 bodies found in the ash believed to be the killer and his landlord. With electricity now restored, the neighborhood was reopened to the public, and crowds of people came by to check out the scene where 7 homes were destroyed. Now, while many visitors simply want to pay their respects, some residents are uneasy about strangers walking through the area.
All right, in the wake of this tragedy, our police chief, Susan Ballard, is making some suggestions on how we can change the state's already tough gun laws. She sat down and had an interview with a number of members of the media yesterday. I want to play out that entire interview because she actually said a lot of important things, and we didn't get to play them all out on our newscast yesterday. That's the beauty of having a podcast, and This Is Now. We get to have some more extended interviews. So let's listen in to Chief Susan Ballard.
For the mental illness, we want to take a look at filling in gaps that we have, and also, to try and get more treatment options. So instead of us just taking folks to jail, and then they get released back, maybe transition into treatment facilities, that type of thing. So we really haven't, got exactly what direction we're going, but we kind of have pieces. So I think it's just as it develops, through the legislative session. And, I think this is the time that we need to do something. I think I talked about this before. It's tough love. People do not, if you're living on the street and you're defecating and urinating on the streets, that is not a lifestyle option. And in my mind, that they can't make those decisions. If that's the decision they're making, then that's not a decision that's a normal, not in our days and times, and not on this island.
Can you give me any update on what you've learned about what happened so far?
Well, right now everything is still, it's still under investigation. As everyone knows, we did found 2 sets of remains. We're waiting for, identification of those remains. And we did find some firearms there, but, once again, haven't really been able to take a look at them closely to find out, if they were, what type of guns they were, that type of thing. So it's still, the investigation is still very preliminary at this point in time.
We were down in the neighborhood this morning, and the neighbors are quite traumatized, obviously. They're back, but there's a lot of looky-loos coming through. Have you thought about closing up the neighborhood or considering something like that, or limited to residents only or anything like that?
Well, it's difficult because it's a public roadway, and now that the police investigation has wrapped up in that area, it would be difficult for us to do. Obviously, if they see people trespassing, on their property, or people, for whatever reason, they might go and start the houses that are burnt down, and want to walk through, and we caution people because those are old houses. You don't know the chemicals, we don't know the dust. And to kick that up, it would probably not be good for anybody's health. But if you see someone trespassing, call 911, and an officer, will respond and take whatever the appropriate action is.
Did you get reports of some looting?
No, we have not. Initially, they said, they saw people sifting through, but there's nothing there left to loot. But it was the homeowners who were there, just I guess going through just to see if there was anything possible to be saved in their homes.
Is there any indication that there was an assault weapon either involved or in the home? Do you know anything about the firearms?
No, we don't. Once I said, we did find some, burnt out carcasses, I guess, for lack of a better term, of firearms. So we haven't been able to really take a close look at them. We haven't even been able to identify what possible weapon was, used in the killing of the 2 officers. So we did find some, but it's part of the investigation that we're going to have to take a look at them closely and see if we're going to be able to identify them.
Would it be a large number of firearms?
Right now, there's not a whole lot. There were a few that we've found, but not the huge cache that the friend was saying. And once again, we're going to continue, looking, but and there was really none that were registered to the landlord or the landlord's deceased husband.
Oh, there were not?
No.
None of them, huh?
No.
Really?
No.
That was the active theory there for a while.
Yeah, no, there was none of them that were registered. We ran the names, and they're not registered.
Oh, okay.
So you're able to identify the weapons, serial numbers, and that kind of thing, so you know something about the weapons themselves?
No. We just run the person's name to see if there's any firearms registered to them, and there were not.
Oh, there weren't to the deceased husband either?
No.
Oh,
No.
That's very contrary to what we were told.
Yeah, no.
And to the suggestion that there might be some firearms legislation that would be appropriate, does this case sort of underscore any PUCA and the existing firearms regulations?
Well, obviously we always need to, tighten things up, but, we are taking a look at, obviously with the long guns, the permitting, instead of having a year-long permit for long guns, every time it'll be like handguns that we want every time you buy a long gun to be able to have a permit. We're taking a look at what they call ghost guns that you can actually order through the internet. That type of legislation, and probably some other things as far as like if someone dies, to make sure that these firearms are registered, or somehow because a lot of people when their loved ones or their family members pass away, they don't know what to do with these firearms, and but so we need to tighten up, I think, the laws and the bills in that area.
That's sort of like the the grandfathered guns.
Correct.
Is that the same concept?
Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at that and see if it's possible that if someone passes away, those grandfather guns are going to need to be registered, or go back and register them. Once again, all the legislation is preliminary right now, and we'll be working closely with the legislatures here in both the Senate, and the House to take a look at the mental illness as well as firearm legislation.
Chief, ghost guns would be guns that are sort of mail ordered in pieces. and
Correct, the
convince them?
80% guns. So they come in a package, 80% complete, which isn't illegal, and then you put them together. And once you put them together, then you have to register them. And just in the first month, there was like over 60 of those guns that were registered. And so what scares me is that how many came on this island that were not registered.
That was Police Chief Susan Ballard speaking there. We want to stay on this story, right, Lacey? You have some more developments.
In Washington, D.C., Honolulu Mayor Kirk Caldwell, along with City Council members Ikaika Anderson and Joey Manahan, presented tea leaves and flowers at the National Law Enforcement Memorial. It was a gesture to honor the lives of officers Tiffany Enriquez and Kaulike Kalama. Their names will be added to the D.C. Memorial as well as the Hawaii Law Enforcement Memorial here on Oahu.
All right, we're going to continue to cover this story. We're staying with it here at HNN. A lot of you are asking how you can help. We have a story posted on our HNN digital platforms that list out all the fundraisers, GoFundMe, and pages like that, how you can donate money for the families and the recovery. And we've also posted a digital documentary there on our digital platforms. Just search Tragedy at Diamond Head. All right, we're going to move on to some other news, some news that came in overnight, right, Lacey?
Well, it took a while, but finally a Jeep was removed from the Alawai Canal. It ended up there early this morning. A resident said he heard the driver speeding down Nahua Street, hit the curb, and then splash into the Alawai. EMS says the driver was able to get out by himself and had minor injuries, but this also prompted a couple of lanes to be blocked on Alawai Boulevard for several hours. But
busy time to do that.
Exactly. A very difficult task to try and tow this out of the canal. Normally the vehicle is on the road.
Yeah.
But this was a very tricky situation. Great job by law enforcement officers, tow trucks there getting it out.
Yeah, and for our podcast listeners, just to describe what we're looking at, it's a yellow Jeep, literally just dangling off the edge of the Alawai, half in the water submerged and the back end sticking out. They're having to tow it right out of there. And like you said, luckily no one was seriously hurt there. Yep. Moving on, we have some serious developing news out of Texas we need to get to.
A fatal explosion at a factory rocked the Houston area early this morning. Authorities are waiting for positive identification, but they believe the two people who died were employees at the plant. Johnny Fernandez has the latest from New York.
Smoke drifted from the rubble of a Houston factory hours after it exploded in the middle of the night. People in the area were shaken out of bed.
I thought someone had hit my house. Threw a bomb or something like that.
The explosion leveled the factory and severely damaged a number of houses in the area. Officials say a gas called propylene was leaking after the blast, but has been stopped. Crews are conducting air quality assessments.
We're not getting any negative readings, so we don't have any hazards that we can report right now as far as air quality.
Police don't believe the explosion was intentionally set off, but since there were fatalities, a criminal investigation is underway. Nearby residents are being asked to check their property for potential evidence.
Look for any debris, any body parts, anything that may be related.
Federal agents will be joining local officials to investigate what happened. Johnny Fernandez, CBS News.
All right, we got some news to get you, some international news. Tell us what's going on with the volcano in Europe, Lacey.
Explosions on Mount Etna in Italy, Europe's largest volcano, has caused lava to flow down the slopes of the mountain and sent rocks flying through the air. According to local media, a series of explosions have taken place in different craters in the volcano over the past 2 days. Etna is the largest of Italy's 3 active volcanoes, which also includes Stromboli on the Sicilian island of the same name, and Mount Vesuvius near Naples, which last erupted in 1944. Etna is a popular tourist destination in Sicily, attracting hikers who travel to see the lava flows glowing orange at night. A very scary sight.
Scary sight, but just magnificent as well. I mean, it almost looked like a waterfall of lava there is what we were looking at. And of course, we're still monitoring the volcano in the Philippines as well. I saw it was shooting off some steam and ash yesterday still, so we'll monitor that as well. I want to get to some video that came in yesterday. I saw it on Sunrise this morning. I had to show it on This Is Now. Check this out. Big wave surfer Billy Kimber there, not afraid of anything. That was especially the case yesterday here at Jaws on Maui's North Shore. Check it out. He described this wave on Instagram as a wave of a lifetime.
Wow.
Or the wave of his life, I should say. It was all part of that series of northwest swells that rolled through. It's all died down now, but check out the action he got there.
We had a conversation with Guy Hagi, our in-house surfer.
Oh yeah, the expert.
And I was asking him how scary it is when you actually stand up and you're at the top of the wave and you're about to drop in,
yeah.
because that story's high. I mean, and then you have to hold onto your board and balance, and then hook into the wave. I can't even imagine. This is so difficult.
It is just magnificent to look at. Leave it to the experts, though.
Leave it to the experts.
Sure.
We'll stay on the shore.
Yep. I'll be there, right there with you. Let's look outside real quick. Beautiful Friday. Aloha Friday, everyone.
Friday.
Hey, we're here. Let's get a check of how the weekend's going to shape up. Here's Guy. Speaking of Guy Hagi, let's talk and check with him. Here he is.
How's it on this Aloha Friday? I'm Guy Hagi with your HawaiiNewsNow.com forecast. This cold front right here is pretty weak. We are expecting a few windward and Mauka showers as it moves into the state later tonight, mainly for Kauai and Oahu, with some overnight and early morning showers. This morning, we have a few showers heading into the east side of the Big Island with light to moderate rainfall totals. Now, those trade winds will begin picking up. They're soft and scrambled right now, but as the day progresses, they'll fill in, mostly coming from the east-northeast, and they'll be back to full strength by tomorrow for the next several days. So for today, it's a day of transition. We're changing from variable winds to trade winds, and we'll start to see a few more windward and Mauka showers. Otherwise, lots of sunshine on tap, high temperatures running into the lower 80s. Now, the surf is on the way down. All the surf alerts have been tossed out, but another extra large swell is due in tonight. For North and West Shores, high surf alerts will go on by this afternoon. 10 to 14 today, excellent conditions. In fact, the Sunset Open is on today up at Sunset Beach. 7 to 10 down on the west side, and we still got a small little wrap in town at about 1 to 2 feet. So we've got beautiful weather into the weekend, into the early part of next week. Maybe a few windward and Mauka showers starting tonight through Saturday. And then on Tuesday, we lose the trade winds again. Another light wind weather pattern takes over with even warmer temperatures. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
He didn't say it. You know what I'm saying? Best weather on the planet. It is. It looked like a great weekend ahead. Can't wait for that.
And he's always right.
There we are. Sorry,
Hello.
guys. Let's get you some news for our chocolate lovers. You're going to want to hear this one.
They're speaking directly to our heart, Jonathan.
Yes.
Good news for us chocoholics. Over the next 2 years, 3 new M&M interactive stores will be open. The locations are Disney Springs in Orlando, Mall of America in Minneapolis, and Berlin, Germany. Officials with the Mars Retail Group says the stores will celebrate the culture and spirit of the local community in design and merchandise. Attendees will be able to see the iconic wall of chocolate and larger-than-life character moments. They'll also be able to customize their own M&M candies.
Now, I've been to the one in Vegas. It
Me
was
too.
You said years ago, right? You've been as well. I was really hoping when that story came down on the feeds today, it was going to say Waikiki.
Oh yeah, somewhere in Hawaii.
But a lot of people visit Florida as well. You can always visit the classic one there in Vegas. Too.
Hawaii's better.
Bring it on, Eminem.
Come on
Bring it
over
on,
to Hawaii. We love chocolate.
We'll take it. All right, let's move on to a big weekend. We were talking about this yesterday. Now we have an update on the Grammys.
Yes, they are coming up on Sunday. Our Billy V went to LA early for an event showcasing Hawaii musicians. Let's check in on his road trip.
Awesome.
Good morning from Los Angeles, California. We're getting, to have a little bit of Los Angeles lifestyle. There's the palm trees, there's the clear blue skies, and then that other thing that all LA people experience, traffic. So we are on the way right now. And good morning to my friends. Kat, hi. She's driving. And Bonnie's back there. So last night we were over at all three of us were at the Grammy Museum for the Hawaii performances from the nominees for the Grammy Awards this year. And so taking the stage along with our 3 nominees, there were great people like Bobby Madero Jr., who was part of the workshops that they were giving towards to youth here in California, courtesy of the Grammy Museum. That was followed by great performances. There was Jeff Rasmussen, Catherine Schulmeister, who of course is a Grammy nominee, comes from Kailua, Amy Hanaiali'i, Kimie Minor. Streetlight Cadence was also there on stage last night. They're originally from Hawaii, Hoku Award winners, but they're up here relocated to California. And of course, Kalani Pea. So all of them on stage last night. Then after that, everybody went up to the rooftop where it was standing room only. Over in the theater, it was standing room. They had to bring in even more chairs because it was kind of like overpacked. But it was a really great time last night at the Grammy Museum here in Los Angeles. Now everything goes towards a Sunday night where all the excitement, of course, you can watch that on KGMB. From Los Angeles, California, Grammy Week, I'm Billy V on the road this morning and headed to LAX.
I always say it's the best assignments.
The best assignments.
He was reporting from the road for our podcast listeners. He was literally in the passenger seat
With
of a
his friend
car
driving.
in LA traffic. But somehow they found Aloha print seat covers.
We were just commenting about that. I love it. A dash of Aloha up there on the mainland.
Speaking of seats, we have some insight here for the Grammys because CBS sent us some video, and it sort of gives us an idea. I always like to see who's sitting next to who at these award shows because it can make for some interesting dynamics. So let's check it out, and I'm going to play this out for you. And for our podcast listeners, we're going to try to describe this. So here's an image we have right now. This front row seats, Lizzo, our girl Lizzo, sitting next to the Jonas Brothers.
Nice.
One can only imagine what conversations they're going to have.
And your seat is right next to hers.
Oh, yeah, please.
Right next to
You know
Lizzo.
she's taking me. You know she is. Lizzo, please hear this. Please take me. I can fly out immediately. Please. Let's see. Let's play this out. Let's see who else is sitting next to who. All right, there's Lizzo and the Jonas Brothers. As we spoke here in like 3 seconds. Billie Eilish, Shawn Mendes.
That's going to be a good one.
Oh, and then
Ariana Grande.
LL Cool J is sitting next to Chris.
Oh my gosh, Chrissy and John Legend.
Yeah, she's sitting next to Shania
Twain.
Oh
gosh.
Common is sitting next to Baby.
Alexa, Meek Mill, okay. Dan and Shay, I love them.
Right, and there
Lil Nas.
Yeah, right next to Lil Nas.
Beck.
Beck is sitting next to who did that say?
Dreamville?
Dreamville and Beck. Okay, that's an interesting mix.
That is.
All right, so there was your little sneak preview of who's sitting next to who at the Grammys. Again, that all unfolds this Sunday night right here on KGMB.
Let's go, Team Hawaii.
Yeah, so we're going to take you outside one more time on this Aloha
Friday.
For Lacey and me, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us this week for This Is Now. We'll be back on Monday. Bye, guys.